Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Code with Akshay. Today we are going to discuss how we can leverage Azure AI services or cognitive services with serverless offering from Azure, that is Azure Functions. If you are new to the umbrella of Azure offerings or Azure Functions, then get basic understanding of Azure. I recommend you to go through the video shared in the description below. Please find the use case on screen that we are going to implement. Users are going to upload images to our site. We need to analyze those images to find out appropriate tags for those images. Then faces and gender and age of those faces. Also, we need to find suitable description for that image. And after that analysis, we need to send that information to all the clients connected to the application. Have a look at our solution to be implemented. We are not going to create image upload web application here. For now, I assume that whenever user uploads an image to our application, that will be stored into Azure Blob. Next, we will create blob triggered Azure function, which will get invoked whenever the image is uploaded to the blob. We are going to create Azure function using functions.NET SDK. To get an image analysis, we are going to use computer vision API from the cognitive services. We will post an image to the computer vision API and get the analysis of the image. After getting that analysis, we are going to send that analysis to the clients by using Azure SignalR. Now let's move towards the implementation of this solution. So before starting with the implementation, let's first understand what are the prerequisites of this development. First is Azure Storage Account, which will be used to upload and store our images. Second thing is Computer Vision API, which will be used, or our images will be posted on this API to get the analysis. And third is Azure SignalR endpoint, which will be used to broadcast our analysis. So speed up our development, I have already created these services. First of all, I have created Akshay Storage Account 1 to upload our images. Inside this blob, I have already created post images container to upload and store our images. Second resource is the Computer Vision API. You can find the endpoint of the Computer Vision API here. And another important thing are the keys which can be used to authorize our call to the Computer Vision API. Now quickly move towards the Visual Studio. Inside this solution, I'm going to add a new project with the type Azure Function. Let's give it a name as Azure Function and click on OK. Here you will find out you have two options there, Azure Functions version 1 and version 2. I will select version 2 which supports .NET Core. And I will also select the blob trigger type, as we are going to trigger this function when an image will be uploaded to our blob. So to connect it with our blob, I will select this blob or a storage account which we have created earlier. I will select Akshay Storage Account 1 and click on OK. It will ask us the connection string parameter. So I will mention here as blob_con. And inside the path section, we need to mention our container name, that is post images. After this setting, click on OK. Then Azure function is created for us. You'll find out the run function, which is the entry point for our Azure function. So by default, function 1 will get added to the Azure function project. So quickly, we will add the connection string setting inside the local settings.json. Let's write blob_nl. To get the value of this connection, we need to go to the blob service and inside the access keys, we will find out the connection string settings. Click on the copy and you can paste it inside the local settings.json. We are set with the settings in the Azure Function app. Now we are going to create a function to call Computer Vision API. I have already created the code snippets to speed up our development. So you can find out the method that I have added, that is analyze image by API async. Input of this method is the blob image. Here we have created a HTTP client object, and that will be used to call the Computer Vision API. So interesting part is we are going to pass the parameter as a visual features that we need to understand faces, description, and tags out of the image which is posted. Second thing is the subscription key. This subscription key will be used to authorize your call. So this key will be copied from the keys section of the Computer Vision API. After that, we are calling post-async method on the HTTP client to get the HTTP response. If that response.status code is okay, then we are doing further analysis. We are reading that response string and typecasting it, or that JSON object will be converted and deserialized into object of a type analysis. So let's create object of a type analysis. So here you will find the analysis object. Inside that we have a list of tags, description, and a list of faces inside the image. This is directly one-to-one mapping of the JSON object which we are getting from the Computer Vision API. So we have created the computer method to call Computer Vision API, as well as the class to deserialize that response into the object. Now let's call Computer Vision API method. So it's very simple that we are calling our method and storing its response into the image analysis object, and this object will be printed into the console. First of all, I will make this string as async. Now you can see that tags will be printed on the new line. Then you will find that for the faces, we are printing the gender and age. After that, we are printing the description text from the captions. Now let's start running this Azure function locally. Click on debug and start new instance. Here you will see that host will get initialized and start listening on the port of the local machine. Now let's try to upload an image to our blob container. Click on upload. I will select a file. I will select my image. I will select overwrite if already exists and click on upload. After it will get uploaded, our blob will get triggered and it will call this Azure function to analyze the image. Let's wait for this logging. Yes, the C# blob trigger function process the blob. Name is the Akshay profile pic webinar.jpg, and it will print its size. After that, we are printing the tags like person, indoor, and clothing. These are the tags analyzed by the Computer Vision API. Then the faces. It has identified only one face, that is male of age 28 years. And the description, that Parth Samanthan sitting on a table. So that is the name of one actor. So this is how our function, Azure function will get called when blob image is uploaded to the blob, and it will call the Computer Vision API to analyze the image. Let's implement the further functionality with Azure SignalR. For that, I have already created Azure SignalR resource into the Azure. The details of this service we'll find out on the overview page. And again, the most important part of it is the keys to access the Azure SignalR service. So let's move to the Visual Studio. First of all, we need to add a binding or an input for this Azure function to access the Azure SignalR service. For that, I will add the SignalR messages input variable as a SignalR binding with the hub name chat, which is of a type the async collector of SignalR message. To use the Azure SignalR service, I need to add a NuGet package which is webjobs.extensions.azure SignalR service. It's currently in preview. Let's try to install it. It will ask for installation of the dependencies. I will click on the accept. Let's close this as it is get installed, and you can see that all the errors are resolved. After this analysis, we need to send it or broadcast it to all the clients which are connected to Azure SignalR service. So let's broadcast this to the clients. Here what we are doing is inside the collector of the Azure SignalR messages, we are adding a new message as an async method. And these are the parameters for this new message. The target will be the send all. This is the event which will get triggered after sending this message. And arguments will be, first argument is the tag, second is the faces, and the third one is a description. I will also add the name of the blob as a fourth parameter. Let's try to save it and once build the solution. We are all set from the Azure function point of view to send the analysis of the image to the Azure SignalR. Now we'll implement the web application through which the users will get notified regarding the analysis of the uploaded images. So for that, I have already created a web application with the name Image Broadcast. Here I have added the SignalR JS from the Microsoft for the Azure SignalR communication. I have also added the content.html, which will render the analysis of the images. Next thing is the chat.cs. Inside that, I have created a chat class, which is inherited from the hub, which is generally used for the SignalR communications. Next thing is we need to add services like SignalR and Azure SignalR to our services collection. So let's add those services. So here you can see that I have added a SignalR, and after that I have added a Azure SignalR service with the endpoint key, or we can say the access keys of the Azure SignalR. You can find those keys in the key section of the Azure SignalR resource. Here I have copied it from the key 1. Now we need to add a use Azure SignalR to our configure method. So I will add it here. Here you can see that use app.use Azure SignalR, and we are providing the route and map hub to the chat class. I will close this file, save it, close the chat. Now it's time to update our content.html. Let's add Azure SignalR. So here you can see I have added some styles for this styling the analysis. And next thing is I have included the SignalR JS and the jQuery for some UI manipulation things. After that, after DOM content is loaded, I'm here using the connection is equal to SignalR.hub connection builder. So here we are building a connection with the Azure SignalR. Then it is sending the or registering the callback for the send all event with the function which takes parameter name, tags, faces, and descriptions. So whenever the send all event is triggered by the Azure function, then control will go here and it will render the analysis as per the mentioned logic. Then it is starting the connection dot start to start a connection, and it will log the connection has started, or if any error has occurred, then it will log into the console. Now let's try to debug both the application. First of all, start debugging the Azure Function app. Let the host be initialized and start listening on the port of the local machine. Then start this web application which will consume the analysis information from the Azure SignalR. When you open or start this web application, you will see in the window and try to navigate to the content.html. So when you will go to the content.html, you will see the blank page because we have not received any notification yet. Then to receive the notification, we will upload some files to the Azure blob. Let's try to open and upload these images. You can see that both the images has been uploaded successfully. And now Azure function has triggered and analyze both the images and find out the appropriate tags for the images and the faces inside those images, as well as the description of those images has been found out and communicated to the client which is connected to the Azure SignalR. So this is how we can leverage the Azure AI or cognitive services into the Azure serverless offering, that is Azure Function. Thanks guys, thanks for being with me, and stay tuned for the next videos.